And I actually wanted to do a message recently at the park, but I've noticed like throughout this whole new year, this whole 2022, almost a new year, this whole year that let me clean my thing. Yeah, it looks like it was a little foggy. That sometimes the connection at the park is really crazy for some reason. Like I don't know why. Like when I go to the park, sometimes it feels like it's a little like laggy or it doesn't work or something like that. But I was feeling this message in my soul, and I think that, I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited to get this year over with. This year has been such a huge, teaching lesson. I think that 2022 was a great year for lessons, was a great year for self-discovery and, getting things in order, kind of like sifting through, what you want to do in the future, even. I think that a lot of people were, I think respectfully, a lot of people probably were overcome with a lot of stress. I think that to some degree, people are still under a lot of stress because of what's happening in the world. But I don't know, like I had a really good sleep. I had a really good sleep. I woke up and, I always say my spirit guides were telling me so many messages. Like my spirit guides were giving me so many messages about, what's to come next year and what's going to happen and all this. Let me just move because there's construction outside. It's been like pretty noisy. That's why I really haven't been able to come on here all the time. Let me just, okay, I'm back. So if I hear it like majorly, I may just like go to a different location again because I do want to get this message out. And I do want to, get this message out because I was feeling this a couple days ago, but I just never got a chance. I never got a chance to do it. So I did want to make this message. So anyway, like this year was a lot about, I feel kind of sifting through, like as Abraham Hicks said, kind of sifting through what you want and what you don't want. And, kind of like making decisions about, what is good and acceptable and happy, in your eyes and your heart, and how to move forward. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to spread the love and the good vibes because I just woke up. I woke up like a couple hours ago and I was able to go to the gym and, just kind of like de-stress and everything, and meditate. I did a lot of meditation, and my energy, my attitude totally changed. Sometimes, we just need to rest. Sometimes we just need to like relax, have fun. I think that spiritually, I think that spiritual warfare is not going to get any easier next year. So the way that I'm going to choose to combat everything next year, I think is through joy, just pure happiness and joy, and choosing to be happy. Because sometimes, yes, happiness is a choice sometimes. We can't control other people. We can't control what happens in the economic markets to some degree. Like we can't control a lot. So there's like really no reason to, I think, stress or be sad over really anything. What, like really, like there's really nothing to worry about. Like that's the message I was getting, is like there's nothing to worry about. Nature will take its course, just enjoy the ride, I think if anything, we've seen so many people pass away, so many people disappear, and their life was cut short. And some people were very young, like in their 20s. So you have to just kind of look at that, and say, wow, these people have hardly been on this planet for not even 40 years, not even 30 years, and they're gone. And we know, and there's so many of them, There's so many. And then there's people that are, that are established, and have families, and they've also passed away. I know a lot of them. So it's kind of just like the way that I'm seeing 2023 is, what have you learned in 2022 to put into practice in 2023? Like, that's how I'm seeing it now. Is like, what exactly have you taken from this very rough, challenging year? Most people would say this year was horrible, which is sad because, I don't use a phrase back in the day, but I would say before 2015, 2016, times are really good. Not that everything was peachy keen, right? But like before 2020, life was really good. And hopefully you all can agree. I hope like it was better in a lot of ways. And then, the more technology, the more social media, the more people, just weird energy, things on this realm got worse, But I think that when people were just more focused on pure joy and stuff like that, they were a lot happier. But then it seems like when people kind of shifted all their focus to comparisons and wanting to compete with other people and all types of stuff like that, is when I think a lot of the people in society lost their way, and there's no point, and that brings me to this point that I want to talk about for next year, which is, you know, in a way, it's like Source is saying to us to stay in our own lane, enjoy our own journey, enjoy our own path, stop trying to convince other people of what you know, whether it's religion, whether it's spirituality, whether it's to do with relationships or how people spend their money. Let them be. Let people be. That was a huge overarching theme of 2022, is people show you who they are the first time. Believe them. Believe what people are saying about themselves. Believe how people are behaving, what they show you, how they treat you, what they talk about. That's who they are. And you have to accept that and move along. You don't have to engage. You don't have to like. You don't even have to, in my opinion, respect, really. You could just choose to ignore, And that is something that I think most people, if they don't understand that about 2022, their 2023 is going to be a repeat. They're going to have the same friendship issues or romantic issues or whatever. They're going to perpetuate the same cycle because they've not come to that enlightenment moment of, wow, people are going to do what they want to do. People are going to think what they want to think. People are going to behave how they want to behave. And if you choose, and here's a big part of it, if you choose to use your money, use your energy, use your resources, your emotional tank to somebody else, and you're constantly putting into that person's life or entertaining them, and you have come to the end of the month, the end of the year, the end of the week, and you're still putting out that energy, and you're not happy, or there's no reciprocation, then what are you doing, So I know from just what I've seen on social media, my personal life, my own life, that 2022 was about prioritizing. It was about what are you putting yourself into? What are you allowing yourself to keep accepting or keep living? What are you doing basically with your time, with your energy, with your love? And it's a choice, never feel pressured to have to speak to somebody. Never feel pressured to have to, be nice to somebody if you don't really like them or whatever. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I think these lessons, these themes of 2022 are going to be so impactful next year. And I want to congratulate in advance, like people like myself and others of you out here, where you've identified the leaks, right? Like you've looked over the year, you've looked over your living situation or your finances or your relationships, and you're proud. You're proud of the choices you've made, and those choices, those clear and concise choices, is what's going to separate you from the herd. you know and there is such power in not trying to control what you are not ordained to control or even care about. Like caring about something for too long, or even if it's like in the media, there's a story in the media that you think is pretty useless, and everybody's just wasting all their energy on the same thing over and over and over and over again. That's a choice. We, going into 2023, we can make a choice to confirm or deny, to buy into or ignore, to speak on something in that exact moment, or maybe speak about it at a different time. We all have the power to do that. And that's what I've really loved about this year. Know that 2022 was not the easiest year for most people. Like majority of people I know that I've seen, they've still been successful this year, but overall they've had a lot of toiling, a lot of labor, a lot of, oh, here we go again, and life is really not meant for that. Like what I've realized this year is like life is not meant to be unhappy. Like if you choose to be unhappy, that's up to you. You can't let somebody else's circumstance or somebody else's sad situation or whatever affect you. You have to like literally separate yourself. Like in the Bible, it says you are in it, but you're not of it. Like you're in this world, but you're not of this world. You don't have to conform or change yourself to make somebody else happy. You can choose to just be who you are. And if people don't want to accept that, that's not even, nobody even cares about that. If somebody doesn't want to accept you for who you are, or what you just who you are, that they're not for you. That job, that person, whatever, that's not for you. So that leads me to the biggest point: destiny. Destiny and life. How you choose to live your life is totally up to you. Nobody has to understand it, nobody has to accept it, but don't at the same time feel that you have to conform to make other people more comfortable with you, like you more. That's a huge mistake that most people make. They try to conform to make somebody else feel more comfortable with who they are. That's not love. That's not love. If you are in an environment, or you're in a relationship, or you're around people where you feel like you have to be different to get them to like you, or to get them to respect you, or to even look in your direction, that whatever that is not for you. Is not for you. And I think that this is one of the most common mistakes that people make in their life, is they spend their whole life trying to make their parents happy, or their neighbors happy, or their relatives happy, or their partner happy. And they've changed themselves in a way that's not authentic. It's not authentic at all. And this is why, depression is so high and all these other disorders, because they're not being themselves. What happened to that guy, Twitch or whatever, who was in an interracial relationship, was married to a white woman, which what have we said about this already? Meghan and Harry, same thing. Like, there comes a price. There is a price with all of that. It's not necessarily easy street. I've experienced it. A lot of you have experienced it. We get it. If you don't, they don't get it by now, they're never gonna get it. And he offed himself. This guy was known as one of the happiest dancers, celebrities. He was on the Ellen show for like decades, had a bunch of kids. And of course, for social media, dancing with his wife, showing off all this stuff, you know, went to a motel and shot himself in the head. So, what does that tell people? What is has the general public looked at that, studied that, analyzed that, and have taken the lesson? I took the lesson from that and said, wow, this person was so-called happiest. And he was so unhappy that he left this planet. He took his own life. So that to me speaks volumes about society. It speaks volumes about how most people live their life. They're not living for them they're not happy. They're not happy. People put on a show because they think that their shit don't stink. Basically. That's what it is. But somebody who's genuinely happy, just like if somebody's genuinely in love, they don't have to act it out necessarily. It's just like when you're in a relationship and you're in public. Like me personally, I've never been in a relationship where I feel like I had to prove something. I never been in a relationship where I feel like I had to show PDA to I don't couples like that I just don't get, because it's like nobody's forcing you. Like nobody cares enough to see two strangers, doing all that in public. But some people are like that, they live for other people's approval. They live to make other people jealous. They live for other people's validation. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are genuinely in love, there's nothing forced about that. Like I've felt that many times, and I've never had that compulsion to behave how some other couples behave. I never understood that, because are you in a relationship for yourself, or are you in a relationship for other people? Like what's really going on here? So there's so many lessons from the tragedies, from the celebrities who've passed away, from people in our own lives that have passed away. There's so many lessons, like so many lessons, that people would just pay attention, and look at the lesson. The lesson is be authentic. The lesson is choose happiness. The lesson is stay healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and even physically healthy if you choose. There's this whole new thing with body positivity. So the traditional view of healthy is like a stick, you know? We're in a bikini all day, but now times have changed. So I don't really want to speak on that, but at least mentally and spiritually, you're healthy. You're a whole person. And there is freedom in that. There is freedom in not having to acquiesce to every request. There's freedom in being an honest person. There's freedom in being happy for yourself. Nothing and nobody has to make you happy. You are just joy. You are joy within itself. You are joy. When you get up in the morning, no matter how many sad stories are on the internet, you choose happiness. That is something that people are forgetting to do because they're running around, they're busy, they're here, they're there. And this way of living, if society hasn't noticed, is so damaging. It's just making people's mental health worse. There's no benefit to living like that. You see what I'm saying? So take care of yourself, whatever that means for you, right? Take care of yourself. Do what makes you feel good, and whatever stress or whatever you're going through, find an outlet, whether it's running or walking or yoga or going to a therapy or whatever. It's important because so many people put on this front and they're suffering inside. They're really suffering. And there's power in knowing that there's nothing to prove. There's nobody to impress. Not even your parents, not even your great grandparents, nothing. There's nobody to impress. There's nobody that's going to be on the sidelines clapping you unless you are allowing that to happen to you. Unless you're allowing people in your life to control you to that degree, then you're never going to be happy because you're not living for yourself. You're living to impress or help somebody else. Like, you're living somebody else's life at that point. You're not living your own life. And it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to sometimes separate from that, you know, and go on your own path and choose to think how you think. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is easy if you are honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then it's going to be hard every day of your life. Every day of your life is going to be Groundhog Day, you know, Greyhound Day, whatever. It's going to be depressing. And I already know for myself that for next year, I want to have even more fun. That is like the top of my list, is like just enjoying life. You know, it's not all about work, 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 all these goals, goals, goals. Oh, like that is so empty. That life is so empty, you know? And it always has been, even when I was, you know, the peak on YouTube, doing everything under the sun. When it made me happy, when it fulfilled me, it did. When the world went upside down and I didn't have time for it, I didn't stress it. Sometimes, a lot of times I did, because I didn't want to let you all down. I didn't want to step away from my channel for too long. But at the same time, I had to realize that, okay, hold up. They're not living my life. Y'all are not, you know, necessarily in my shoes every day. Neither am I in your shoes. And I had to come to the realization that if I drop dead from stress, what then? You know, what then? So I had to make that choice. You see, I had to step back and look at it like, wait, right now my life is in transition. I'm about to graduate. I got this going on, I got that going on. I have to delegate my priorities. I have to delegate my time. And whoever is offended by that or doesn't like that, that's on them. That's not on me, because my heart is pure. I'm doing everything out of pure intention, for sure, 100,000%. And I can only give what I have to give. I can only give what I have to give. I can't give something from an empty place and then expect it to be beautiful, and then expect it to reach thousands of people that like it. That those two things do not make any sense. So health and being a whole happy person is very important. And I don't want to say I feel sad for people that don't have that, but yeah, you know, like that is something that takes effort and attention and time. And not everybody, I realize, has the privilege of having that time. You know, like I said, some people are getting established or are established, and now their whole life is going to be shifted to something else, somebody else, you know, and so that's going to take up majority of the time. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you are in a job and your job is expecting this, that of you, and you want to do other things, but because you're now obligated, you can't. So that's why I'm saying it's very important to pay attention to your life. It's very important to pay attention to how you feel, because I don't I think that's a lot of feelings are overrated, but at the same time, how your body feels, how your sleep is a big indication of where you are at spiritually. If you're the kind of person where you can't sleep for anything, you're not able to have a good night's rest, you know, that's a huge red flag. You know, so many people suffer from this, where they're not peaceful within themselves, right? And if we're honest, they have to, in order to get out of that, you got to take the time to make careful decisions, to go back to the drawing board and figure out what is happening, you know? So I speak joy, I speak blessings, I speak health over every single one of you. No matter how you choose to live your life, no matter what is up ahead next for all of you, I just hope that you're happy, because there's nothing worse, I'll tell you, in life than being an unhappy person. There's just it's not a good feeling, you know? And it is a choice. I think it becomes a choice, especially if you're turning all your attention to what's so wrong with the world and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then how are you going to get out of that? You know, your partner's not going to do it. I mean, the pastor can't do it. It's between you and God, you and source, you and the universe. That's what it comes down to. You have to have that secret place just for you and source, to have important conversations and speaking authentically from your heart. That's where it all starts. And no matter how tough a day gets, not life, a day gets, look for the positive, look for the opportunity, for growth, for light, for love, for joy. Like, no matter, I mean, I can speak from experience from last year and this year. No matter what craziness went on, I was so calm. And I know that it's divinely led, because there's been things that I have, you know, experienced or gone through that I thought that I would never, I didn't see a way out of it. You know what I'm saying? I actually, that's not true. I did see a way out of it, but in the moment, I didn't understand why it was happening. That's the thing. I didn't understand why. But I tried not to question it too much. I tried not to overinflate or over exaggerate the situation. It's like I just focused on well-being. I focused on well-being. The darkest time in 2021, I focused on my well-being. That was always like this, the saving grace was focus on what you can control right now. Don't focus on the next big boulder next week or tomorrow or even tonight. Like, that's not going to help you. If you're going throughout the day and your focus is on, oh, this is so hard, oh my god, I have this crazy thing coming up, oh, like, you're just lowering your own vibration. You're only hurting yourself at that point. You're only going to hurt yourself at that point. So you have to be aware enough to stop that negative flow, to stop it right in its tracks and say, nope, nope, that's not the way we're going to go. That's not helpful. That's the enemy's voice. I'm not going to listen to it. And to shift your focus. But you have to shift your focus, though. You have to shift your focus. And so even from last year, when something happened, devastated me, was like, that would break a person for sure. And it didn't break me, which was so shocking. And I felt complete peace. It was like almost in the storm. I felt more peaceful at that moment than I felt out of the storm. And that's when you know that you're really walking with God, is when in the storm you feel even happier and you can't explain why. Why am I so happy? Why am I so peaceful? Why is everything working out for me? Well, everything in the 3D is like it's capitulating. But still inside you have that peace. Can I tie that to meditation? I don't even know exactly what the concoction of it was, to be honest with you. But I was just so at peace. And from the outside looking in, and what happened to me in 2021, somebody would have definitely have broke. Like the average person, I think, would have lost their mind, quite frankly, and would have just given up on life, for sure, for sure. And so that's why I'm saying when we see these tragedies about people taking their own life and all this, humbly, I can't relate, because I too have been in those dark times, and never, not once, did I ever say, I'm going to hurt myself. I would never do that. Now, some people, because I would put it down to the lack of relationship with God. That's respectfully where I would hang my hat on that. Because if you have a relationship with God, right? You know that you know what you know what you know, that your beginning and your end is in God's hands. So you don't overly stress about things that you can't change in that moment. Do you understand what I'm saying, you all? Like, you accept that when it's your time to leave this earth, you will leave, but not at your own doing, not by your own hand. So it's so amusing. People say, oh, well, like, you don't know what they've gone through. Like, we clearly do, because they've explained it in a note, or somebody close to them has said they had a horrible life or whatever. And there's hope. What people have to understand is that there is hope. If you hold on to hope, hope will hold on to you. But the second you let go of that rope, you let go of that hope, you let go of that opportunity for a better tomorrow, then you've lost. You've lost the plot, and the devil will come in, and the negative forces will come in and will take you out of here. I can guarantee it. If you are beating the drum of that negativity, then that's exactly where you're going to go. That's exactly where you're going to head. So it's just a matter of being aware of what is happening. It's a matter of being aware of your thought process, because your own mind can kill you. The thoughts that people think without even knowing it is killing their future, is killing their today, is making them depressed, you know? And so for anybody who is watching and you are depressed, the wisest words I can give you is hold on to God. Hold on to God. Don't let go of God, because God's not letting go of you. And your story is not over. Your life is not over. That breakup will not destroy you. That divorce will not destroy you. That health condition will not destroy you. You have to believe seriously that this is not my portion. You have to not only speak it out of your mouth, but you have to live that way. You have to live in a way that says, I am not going to let what happens in life push me, knock me down. You have to make that decision, And so from 2021, that was another breakthrough year for me. That was a huge, oh my God, that year was a huge wake up call for me. And it's what made me strong enough to survive this year. And it's what's going to be another building block for next year. But we have to build upon those lessons. We have to build upon those realizations and not get lost in the sauce, because what's happening to a lot of people right now is they're lost in the sauce. They're lost in the economic troubles. They're caught up in not having something they want that they feel they should have had by now, whatever. You can't focus on that. Like Abraham Hicks said, what you focus on grows. So she used this example, like if you focus on the lack of money you have, how are you going to draw in more money? Right? Like if you're focusing on the lack of, you're saying, I need more money, I need more of this, I need more of that. But first of all, there's no action being put in to change the situation. Second of all, the drum that you're beating would be, I have no money, I have no money, I have no money. And so even when I've gone back to the beginning of my channel, the principles that I use, that I incorporated, for my own personal financial health, I remember was because there was a drum that I was beating that was high vibrational. I was doing a lot of spiritual work. I've gone back to that, like I told you all a couple videos ago. I've gone back to doing my spiritual work. The pandemic totally, and moving houses totally knocked me out of orbit. But that's why I'm saying to you all that focus is so important, because see, when you're focused on, oh my God, you're not able to take care of yourself. I'm telling you, you're not able to have that precious time to say a prayer or to do a ritual or to read a book that would help you. That's when your time is slipping away from you. That's when things go bad, because there is a lack of establishment of your own boundary, of your own time. You see what I'm saying? So this is why it is so important to shift the focus back to, what are you going to do about it? How are you, what reality are you wanting to accept? Because see, when that happened to me in 2021, I could have accepted that reality. I could have, like I said, the average person that went through what I went through, which I've never disclosed details because it's not anybody's business, but I'm just going to say that for the lack of the purpose of the video. To the average person, I would have definitely broke them, for sure. They would have killed themselves. 100,000%. I know it. I know it. But like I said, because I don't want to use the word trained, but I did train myself. I have to be fair. I did train my mind and my body to respond differently under seasons of immense stress, immense challenges that you look at face value and you're like, that's never going to change. Oh my God, how am I going to ever get out of that? You see? And I trained myself so well that in that season in my life, all while still being in college, didn't graduate yet, so many changes happening at once, everything happening at once, I was still able to be ridiculously calm. A calm that I've never, it was like a supernatural calm. It wasn't just like meditate calm, let me get zen now. Ooh, no. This kind of calm, this kind of peace was inexplainable. Inexplainable peace. And that's the kind of peace that I want to impartate to all of you. This is the kind of peace that I want all of you watching to have in 2023. Because we all know, they're already saying it, 2023 could be worse. They're already putting that negativity out there. But I'm telling you all that those who know, and those who have the wisdom to listen and learn from everybody is only going to get better. The 3D is deceiving, right? The reality is deceiving. You know that there's better coming. You know that your goals will be achieved. You know what God has told you that is going to happen in your life. You know this. And I know this. But sometimes reality takes its sweet time. Sometimes reality drags its feet. And sometimes even we have more challenges and more burdens than we think blessings. But it's all about, what do you believe? At the end of the day, what do you believe? Do you believe that you're going to get out of the situation? Do you believe that there is better for you? Do you believe that no matter what's happening in the world, you will be okay? And if that's what you believe, then that's what you're going to see. It's actually that simple. So this is a message I wanted to give to you all today. I actually think this message was actually better than the one that I thought of a couple days ago. Early in the morning, before work, I was going to jump on here, but I said no, it wasn't the right time. So now I have a little bit of time, sort of, kind of, and in this precious video, I hope that it's, sending us all on the right vibrational path for next year. Because I think next year can be a fabulous year, personally. I'm not talking about the world, right? I'm saying on a personal level, I think that next year could be an amazing year. In fact, I know it will be. I've felt that for a long time. But our level of lessons and awareness has to be way higher than the norm. You know, definitely can't go into next year not applying these same principles and wisdom, because it won't work. We all have to use what we've learned this year into next year, most definitely, or it's going to be a repeat. It's going to be the same old, which I know a lot of us don't want. We want better. We want to really see things shift in a positive direction. But it all starts with our energy. So get good rest, stay hydrated. You know, that's like the most important thing, is like stay hydrated, get good rest. Don't get distracted by any negative things that have nothing to do with you. You know, send your condolences, you know, whatever, but don't dwell on it, because then it's going to bring your energy down. And there's a lot of that in the world, where there's just constantly, you know, bad news or bad things, and that's not going to help any of us. Like, even the people reporting that, that's not even going to help them. So there's no like, what also has been a huge pinnacle is like, there's no benefit to worry. There's no benefit to worry. There's no benefit to stress. There's no benefit to sadness. There's no benefit to any of those emotions. That's why I said at the top of the video, a lot of feelings are overrated, because they tune us in the wrong direction. You see what I'm saying? These emotions sometimes can push us on the wrong path. So we have to be, I don't want to use the word careful, we have to be aware of what our emotional state is like. And a good way to gear that is how you sleep, how you feel in your body. That's a great way to gauge it. Is, are you sleeping great? Are you getting up feeling positive, ready to begin the day? You know, are you calm? These are all really good ways to figure out what's going on with you. You know, if you don't gauge that, if you're not aware of that, you could be in a perpetual state of just exhaustion and stress and anger, and you wouldn't even know it, because why? Life is busy. Life is super busy, super busy. So it could get to a point where you're not even aware of what's happening. Like, you're literally just not even aware until, you know, you hear something, you see something, and you pause, and you're like, oh my goodness, wow, like, that's not it, you know? That's not it. So it's totally up to you, you know? So I'm wishing you all a great happy new year. This is definitely the video that I wanted to make today. I really felt like so led to make this video, because I know that people have, people don't know what to expect next year. A lot of people are kind of scratching their head like, is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better? Well, I'll close and say that we can decide on a personal level how it goes. Maybe not on a world level, but on a personal level. Every choice we make, we can choose to make it better. All right. So I love you all. See you in the next video. Bye. Happy New Year.